Welcome back to another one of Nathan Bell's videos. We're in the 80s, the high 80s. Nate wants to talk to you today after you've liked, subscribed and shared, all that stuff. Nate wants to talk to you about his goddess.
Well, always I've liked this fanciful thinking, this notion that there are deities. I don't know why I'm drawn to believing in deities, but really fundamentally I've always understood the world. We can fantasize about deities and gods and goddesses, but I think really the view I've accepted of the world for most of my life is that the universe is just materialism. It's just particles and void and empty space, and it doesn't have any life force or conscious energy or being or deity that gives it any meaning or anything. But I've always I've liked this idea of the earth spirit. So I say to people, it's a bit of theatre. I say that I worship Mother Gaia, Mother Nature, the earth spirit, and she is the deity of the earth, who I worship, the living earth spirit, and that on a universal level I worship the master of reality, I call God, the master of the universe, and that is the living life force that is present throughout all of the universe, sort of like the Force from Star Wars. But I've talked about these ideas about believing in living forces and energies and animism. It's basically animism to say that there is a force that animates everything and gives everything life, and that is soul and spirit, and that spreads throughout every being in the universe and comes from one source, energy, which is the whole universe. But I like this. I like to play with these ideas of deities, and so I like to say that I believe in the Mother Nature spirit. She's behind me here. She's my cover picture. She watches over me, the spirit of the earth. But what's interesting in recent years is how much we're learning about how alive the planet is. We know now that trees communicate. Animal communication fascinates me. Everything is alive. It's a living system. We can see now. We've learned. This was a real revelation for me when it came out. This new research about 10 years ago about how alive the root systems of trees are, and how the whole forest and all the trees in the forest can actually they communicate in some basic way with each other, and I mentioned this in another video. We now know that some trees, if there's a tree here and a tree 100 meters away, and this tree is getting eaten by something, it can actually send signals through its root system under the ground to warn other trees that there is an animal coming along eating the trees, so the other tree will know and then will take defensive measures like curling up its leaves or whatever. It's other things that interest me are like massive life forms. Like I was just reading about the other week about these massive fungus that live under the ground. And they stretch for miles. These living systems of fungus that live under the ground that stretch for hundreds of miles. I learned that the biggest life form on the planet is a fungus. I think it was in America, and it's huge. It's enormous. It's like 30 kilometers long or something. So I wonder how much is going on under the planet. And within the planet, is there this whole network of these living fungus spread all throughout the world? So we see that everything is networked, and nature is a system which is networked with each other, and trees have wars with each other. They send microbes through their root systems and attack each other, and one tree can actually injure another tree. This is what I learned, and I just thought it was fascinating to think that the forest is so alive, and I wonder whether the trees are somehow sentient, and I wonder whether trees have an awareness of their surroundings, because now we're learning all this stuff about how they're networked and they actually communicate signals to each other and they have battles, and I wonder, do the trees have a level of awareness or some sort of conscious awareness of what's happening around them? They must, in order for this research that shows that they communicate to be true, they must have some level of awareness of their surroundings. So when you walk through the forest, the trees aren't these dead, lifeless things. They're alive and they're communicating and they have spirit. So what I've come to realise is, I used to throw this notion of the Mother Nature Earth spirit around quite fancifully, but I've come to see, I think we're actually going to learn in the next century that the Earth is alive with a spirit, that runs through everything, and that the whole universe, which is nature, because nature is not just plants and trees and animals on Earth. Nature is the whole universe. So I think we're going to learn that there is a spirit that runs through everything. And it always surprises me that we don't, we should take more time to communicate with the animals and to be in touch with the animal kingdom. Dolphins that we've learnt have extensive language. They have whole different dialects, and then they communicate complex ideas to each other. They're very intelligent. Monkeys can learn sign language. We've seen that you can teach a monkey sign language, and then the monkey who's learnt sign language can go and teach the sign language to its next generation of children, so that a whole generation of monkeys can communicate with humans. So why don't we make more of an effort to be a part of this community? Nature is a community. We're a community on this planet. It's not just us separate to nature. We should be communicating with the animals. We can see now, why aren't we deciphering dolphin languages so that we can learn from them? They're a part of nature as well. They're a part of the earth that we live on. Why can't we ask the dolphins? We'll learn their language, and then we'll ask them, what do you think about the way forward for life on this planet? And if we can teach monkeys to communicate, I want to go and teach every monkey sign language so the monkeys can come to us and they can have their voice and they can tell us what they think is going down on the planet and what they think the way forward is. So, I think we're going to come to realise, and I think the view is changing in science to viewing the earth very much in a very real way as a living system which is integrated and interconnected, and everything in nature having an effect on every other part of nature. So I think we're, especially the younger generations coming through now, very environmental, and it's good. I think we're abandoning this idea that we are somehow separate to nature, that we as humans are superior to nature, that we are above nature. And I think we're starting to see that we're all of us, the animals, and us alike, are on this planet, which is a living system, living together. And I wonder whether we will ever prove that there is a force or a spirit, or that there is a spirit of the earth that is aware of what is happening. I like to play with magical notions, like to think that Mother Gaia can summon a storm, and if nature's angry with us and what we're doing, eventually she'll just start summoning storms and killing us all off. I wonder if we became a threat to the planet, if we were damaging, which we are, if we were damaging the planet so much that we were killing the planet, and then is there this spirit of the earth that sees us as a threat and can actually start to attack us by changing weather currents and patterns to cause our death? Could we have a war with the Mother Nature spirit? But I think we will come to, I wonder whether we will come to learn that the spirit, that the earth is as a whole being, and everything that is integrated on the earth and connected, that there is a whole spirit, a whole awareness of the earth, and that the earth can actually think. And I read an interesting paper about, and I've talked about the universe being a brain before, and I read an interesting paper from an academic who said, does the universe think? Is the universe a living system? Is it a brain, as I said in my video about my God? Is it an interconnected living tissue? Do we have to see everything in existence in the universe and in nature as one living entity? So, I wonder if any of that will turn out to be true. Because if it turns out that we learn that the universe is a living entity and that nature, systems of nature are alive, inherently alive, then we have to start... then we can start taking this fanciful notion of deity and actually saying there is deity. There actually is deity. It's the spirit. It's the spirit of nature. It's the collective spirit of the earth, of all living things on the planet, forming one consciousness, and then that extends up to the universe forming one consciousness. So I like to throw around the idea of deity. I like the idea of deity. Some people are very opposed to the idea of deity, and I get that as well, because really, why would you want to have this deity telling you how to live? But my deity is not like the Christian deity, which dictates to people life choices they should make. My deity is just acknowledging that the system is a living entity. So will we come to learn that the universe and that the earth are actually a living entity in the next century? That's what I believe in. I believe that everything is a living system and there is an energy that passes through everything and animates everything. And that's why I joke and I say that I worship her, Mother Nature, the Earth Spirit, and that I worship the master of reality, the master of the universe. So I think we are going to learn that it's all a living system and we're a part of a bigger living system, and that we have to respect every part of nature, every part of the universe as a part of a whole living system. So that's what I think about deity, and that's a bit about my goddess, the Mother Nature Spirit. So drop a comment in the comment section and tell me what you think about my goddess.